Hello and welcome to OVN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program, Diplomacy, and I'm Mahlet hosting this program. Today, I'm joined by Ambassador Mahlet Hailu, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ethiopia to French Republic. In this episode, we are going to discuss Ethio-France relations. Till the end of our program, stay with us. Ambassador, thank you for joining me and welcome to this program.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Before we dive into our discussion, would you tell us a bit about yourself?
As you have said, my name is Mahlet Hailu. I'm the Ethiopian ambassador to France, also accredited to Spain, Portugal, Monaco, and the Vatican. I have been here in France for the last 1 year and a half. Previously, I have served as a deputy permanent representative in Geneva, in New York. I've also served in different capacities in Los Angeles and France. I have, and also at the headquarters in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It has been now almost 26 years since I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Would you discuss the historical development of diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and France, please?
Yes, as you know, Ethiopia and France share long-standing diplomatic ties, which dates back to 1897, following the Battle of Adwa and the establishment of the French representation in Addis Ababa. France had played a pivotal role in Ethiopia's modernization efforts, notably in supporting the construction of the Ethio-Djibouti Railway at the end of the 19th century. Although diplomatic relations were interrupted during the two world wars, they resumed in 1947 at the embassy level with a significant high-level visits during the Emperor Haile Selassie reign. We had President Charles de Gaulle, which visited Ethiopia in 1958, and this really strengthened the bilateral ties existing between the two countries. But relations weakened again during the Derg regime, but it revived after its downfall. Since His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took office in 2018, the political relationship has deepened, fueled by his reform agenda, democratization efforts, and economic liberalization, which strongly resonated in France. Cultural ties have also flourished with the institutions such as the Lycée Gabriel Mariam, the Alliance Française, and the French-Ethiopian Studies Center, which promotes cultural exchanges and advanced Francophonie in Ethiopia.
How has the diplomatic friendship between both countries evolved over the years?
Ethiopia and France enjoy a long-standing relationship, which has been strengthened both qualitatively and quantitatively in recent years, particularly since His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed reform agenda took place. Political interest remains high, with regular bilateral, regional, global issues. Frequent exchanges are common between our officials and various on various matters which are of common concern. And this further solidify the relationship between our two countries.
What are some of the key areas of cooperation and collaboration between Ethiopia and France on the diplomatic forum?
Ethiopia and France cooperate in several areas, including multilateral consultations and agreements were signed. You know, when President Emmanuel Macron visited Ethiopia in 2019. These agreements span on culture, heritage, preservation of defense, and the economy as outlined in the joint declaration of October 2018 when His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy visited France. The key areas of collaboration include, among others, health, justice, energy, and economic reforms. We have notable ongoing projects which include France's involvement in the restoration and preservation of the Lalibela churches and the renovation of the Jubilee Palace.
Could you spotlight recent initiatives or partnerships between the two nations?
There are various initiatives those that are currently at the high scale is the cultural heritage cooperation that was signed, that is the Lalibela churches restoration and preservation project, as well as the Jubilee Palace renovation. But there are also various cooperation that are taking place on different levels in the matters of health. The French government has been working on the restoration of several hospitals, as well as supporting the health sector and also the economic reforms that we are currently undertaking.
Could you highlight any recent achievements or milestones in the diplomatic friendship between both countries?
We have multifaceted relationship, both politically, economically. The cooperation between our two countries continue to grow with flourishing partnership in education, culture, particularly, as I mentioned earlier, with the Lycée Gabra Mariam and Ethiopian universities. We have also decentralized cooperation between local authorities in France and our local authorities in Ethiopia. This has fostered development projects and cultural exchanges between the people. Again, this decentralized cooperation, for instance, we have the Grand Lyon here in France, which has a sisterly cooperation with Addis Ababa. And we have also the Villeurbanne here in France, which is cooperating strongly with Deredawa. Previously, we had Charleville-Mézières and Harar. In Harar, there is the Rambo House, which with the support of Charleville-Mézières is being renovated, and there are some cooperation at the level of education as well. So these cooperations are very much worthwhile in terms of fostering the cultural cooperation that exists between the two countries, but also small projects that are undertaken by these local authorities.
Thank you very much. What role does the Ethiopian embassy in France play in strengthening these diplomatic ties and promoting cultural exchange?
The Ethiopian embassy plays a crucial role in promoting Ethiopia's interests, both bilaterally as well as multilaterally. My role as ambassador involves advancing trade, investment, tourism, and other national interests, including collaboration in the political and security realms. We also actively engage with Ethiopian diaspora in France, encouraging them to explore other further opportunities back home. On the cultural front, the embassy organizes events both in France and in other countries where we are accredited to promote Ethiopian culture. For instance, as of recently, you may have seen, we have had several events during the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris to showcase Ethiopia. Cultural diplomacy plays a vital role in strengthening the ties between Ethiopia and France. France has been, as I mentioned earlier on, actively involved in preserving Ethiopian heritage, such as the renovation and preservation of Lalibela churches, in collaboration with UNESCO and Ethiopian authorities, because as you know, Lalibela is a World Heritage, registered on the World Heritage list of UNESCO. Additionally, institutions like the French Lycée Gebremariam, the French Ethiopian studies are central. Of course, we have also the Alliance, which is located both in Addis Ababa and Redwa. They are very central in promoting Francophonie and the cultural exchange. But the French government is also supporting higher education in France by offering scholarship to Ethiopian students pursuing PhD studies abroad. Through the decentralized cooperation that I mentioned between the two countries, we were able to foster human and cultural exchanges, promoting development projects at the local level. Now, there are various universities here in France that have different cooperation levels with our universities across Ethiopia. And this helps not only our Ethiopian brothers and sisters to have different researches here in France, but also to have these exchanges and potentially link up the universities that are located both in Ethiopia and here in France for further cooperation and possibly exchange of students. We are also working on that and trying to garner a lot of cooperation between universities, because this cooperation with the universities help to fuel and promote decentralized cooperation between our local authorities.
Thank you very much. How important is cultural diplomacy in enhancing the overall relationship between Ethiopia and France?
Cultural diplomacy, as I said, is very important. It helps to foster the people-to-people relation, but also helps to promote the education sector in Ethiopia. As you know, through cultural diplomacy, we have been able to have a lot of support from the French government, particularly in the education sector. There are many students coming to France to study at the level of first degree and also higher degrees because of the scholarship that are being offered by the French government. This strong collaboration in terms of the culture also resonated highly in the restoration and renovation program that have been undertaken by the French government, which will definitely have economic and tourism dividend at the end, generating to Ethiopia.
What initiatives or programs are currently being implemented to deepen the understanding and friendship between the two countries?
Well, the programs that I mentioned earlier on is they are based on what agreement has been signed during the visit of President Emmanuel Macron in 2019. The three major sectors are the culture and preservation, heritage preservation, and economic cooperation, and also defense areas. But there are other areas also that foster partnership and strengthen the partnership between Ethiopia and France. The high-level exchanges between our officials, the participation of various meetings and sideline consultation on various issues are also contributing to the strengthening of the partnership between our two countries.
How do you perceive the role of public diplomacy in promoting positive perceptions of Ethiopia and France and vice versa?
Public diplomacy plays a vital role in shaping the image of a country, attracting foreign investment, boosting tourism, and winning the hearts and minds of foreign citizens. Our embassy focuses on this, and we endeavor to work further to build on the image of the country, to attract foreign investment, and to boost tourism. We have several events that we carry out here at the embassy. We participate at various gatherings here in France, trying to promote Ethiopia, but also we work on the twin city diplomacy. This is also part of the public diplomacy venture, which will help strengthen the ties between our two countries. So through the advocacy and various activities, we promote Ethiopia and France and try to build a stronger connection between our two nations.
Relations between France and Ethiopia have grown closer over the past 5 years. What should the two countries do to take these growing relations to a new height?
To further enhance the strong, multifaceted relations between Ethiopia and France, both countries, I believe, should intensify efforts to strengthen bilateral ties with a shared commitment to international peace and security. I also believe we need to continue promoting high-level political consultations and exchanges between our officials. We should also increase engagement and participation in political forums and take advantage of these opportunities for discussions on the sidelines of international meetings. We should also expand relations in trade, investment, and tourism, building on the existing strong foundation.
France has good reputation for its tourism industry.
Yes.
What lessons should Ethiopia take from France?
For the last 30 years, France has been one of the world's top tourist destination. It has close to, for instance, even for 2024, the expected tourism figures is close to 100 million visitors, 90 million to 100 million visitors per year. On annual basis, revenues exceed 60 billion euros. So we can say that France sets a very high benchmark for tourism. Ethiopia, with its rich historical, cultural diversity and unique geography, holds immense tourism potential. However, we know that this sector faces some challenges. We had, of course, the COVID pandemic and the recent conflict in the northern Ethiopia, which has significantly impacted the sector. As Ethiopia recovers from these challenges, the country is committed to transform tourism into a major economic sector. Significant economic and infrastructural development projects have been made to ensure that Ethiopia remains a welcoming destination. Additionally, efforts are being carried out to promote tourism products. Now, with the collaboration of the French authorities in restoring the Jubilee Palace, this is a key initiative that will further strengthen the cooperation in the tourism sector, because this museum is going to be open to the public and it's going to be a museum with the renovation and restoration of Lalibela as well. we will have much more tourists flowing into the country. So that is why I said earlier on, this will have a very important economic and tourism dividend at the end for our country. So this would be a very good basis for further collaboration in the tourism sector with the French authorities.
Thank you again. Your Excellency, you are also a permanent delegate of Ethiopia to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. What role are you playing in initiating the organization to add many more Ethiopian heritage to the list?
Yes, as you know, UNESCO is responsible for education, science, and culture. Ethiopia has been a member of UNESCO since 1955. As a permanent delegate of Ethiopia to UNESCO, I represent and I advocate Ethiopia's interest within the organization. Of course, working closely with the Ethiopian counterpart agencies. There are various agencies that we rely on while we represent Ethiopia here at UNESCO. Currently, Ethiopia serves as a member of the Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee. Though our term on the World Heritage Committee recently ended, my role involves negotiating, lobbying, and ensuring that Ethiopia's heritage files are submitted and endorsed smoothly by UNESCO World Heritage Committee or ICH committee members. Since I have arrived in Paris, we have successfully registered 3 national heritages and 1 intangible heritage on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Ethiopia has now 5 elements inscribed as intangible cultural heritage and 12 on the World Heritage List. The 3 inscriptions that happened during my terms of office are the Bale, Gedio, and Malka Kundre, and then the Shoalid intangible cultural heritage that we just transcribed recently.
How do you navigate any potential challenges or differences that may arise in diplomatic discussions between Ethiopia and France?
Diplomatic challenges are inevitable, but Ethiopia and France have built a relationship grounded in respect and dialogue. When issues arise, these issues are approached through diplomatic channels, focusing on mutual understanding and trying to resolve these differences constructively.
How do you see the future of these diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and France?
Ethiopia and France enjoy strong, multifaceted diplomatic relations. I have no doubt that this relation, which is based on mutual trust and dialogue, will continue to flourish. The relationship between the 2 countries is bright, and I believe it will continue to flourish across political, cultural, and economic dimension because it's marked by mutual trust and respect.
As we wrap up this interview, what final message do you want to convey?
I'm very much honored to represent my country here in France at the level of ambassador, trying to promote Ethiopia's tourism, investment, and trade in France, as well as play a crucial role in the political and other discussions and conveying the messages across different French authorities, so as to ensure that Ethiopia's national interests are preserved and the understanding is secured. Now, since the visit of President Macron in 2019, there have been a significant increase in investments and trade in Ethiopia with the French companies. We have investments in agro-business, agriculture, agro-industry with the Mahlet business. And then we have also several cooperation in geothermal energy. But as you know, Ethiopia, the balance of trade with Ethiopia is still deficient in deficit for our side. Of course, the major export towards Ethiopia is Airbus. As you know, Boeing, Ethiopian fleet has Boeing and Airbus. So we have Airbus, which is mainly coming to Ethiopia. So that picks up the balance of trade. But we, in terms of Ethiopia, our mainly exports are agricultural products, mainly coffee and some textiles. So we need to work even more here at the embassy to promote Ethiopian products in order to find markets for our Ethiopian products. So this is a very challenging effort. And as you have rightly mentioned, tourism sector is one of the sectors that we can really benefit learning from France. It's not France because it has more heritages that has attracted so many tourists here in Paris, but also how we value our heritage and make it available for the tourists. And a lot has been done, but we hope to gain more knowledge through the exchanges what we have and cooperation that are existing. And I would like to use this opportunity to thank you, Fantahun, and all your team across OBN for having given me the opportunity to be here with you and to discuss about Ethiopia's and France diplomatic relationship. And I'm very much honored to have had the chance to be on your studio today.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Mahlet Hailu, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ethiopia to French Republic, thank you for your time and insights.
Thank you so much.
Dear viewers, this brings us to the end. Thank you for watching and stay connected with other programs of OBN Horn of Africa.